Waiting for people to acknowledge my presence. This happens far too often. Let's go. One person is here, and then I'll stop sending messages. Cut. No one likes you. Lord have mercy, this thing is long. And it still doesn't have a name. The way I'm thinking about names. My hand is so dang shaky right now, bros. You know what, whatever. I'm a girly girl with a girly secret. If I tell it to you, promise that you'll keep it. I'll tell you now, my little secret. Something, something, something. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Waiting for human beings to join the stream so I can begin to read. Just tell me when you're here. Hello. Welcome. I'm just going to be reading. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but hello. Welcome. I'm reading a backstory for one of my OCs, so yeah, I'm boring. So if you want to listen, that is fine. I'd highly appreciate it. If you don't, that is also fine. Okay, I think I'm gonna start now. One act of violence to bring peace. Sansa's footsteps were muffled by his slippers as he stormed up the path to the castle. His breath was ragged and sharp. His eyes burned with the colors of justice and his own magic. Dark shadows under his eye sockets looked even darker against the fierce glow of his eyelight. While one glowed. Oh shoot, I lost where I was. Within the 5 seconds I was reading. While one glowed, the other remained pitch black, like the void threatening to consume anything that came too close. Sans had never been a runner, but at this point he didn't care about acting lazy. His blue coat was messy and stained, along with the off-white turtleneck he wore under it. Off-white like stars forsaken monster dust. Something he'd seen hundreds of times over and over and over again. He knew what he was about to do was going to change him. Something inside him was screaming that there was another way to save his brother, saying that if he did this, he might lose himself. At this point, after seeing his little brother die so many times, Sans didn't care. He always had been seen as apathetic to everything and everyone except his brother. Now he was truly numb. All he felt was boiling hot rage. The human was going to come back. They were going to kill his brother, and when they did, they were going to kill Sans too. No matter how many times Sans tried to tell the king, his bro, or Grilby, they just forget about it the next reset. Sans had finally lost himself. He had finally snapped. He had only one option and one option alone. He came up to the castle entrance and flung the door open with his blue magic. He didn't care who saw, and he'd never care again. The heavy door slammed against the wall with such force that the wall broke. It crumbled to the judgment hall's floors as Sans crashed through. He hated this place. He hated its color. He hated its atmosphere. He hated its stained glass windows. He hated the floor. He hated the support beams. He hated the light that cast into the room. Most of all, he hated the memories this place brought back. He stormed through the hall without a second glance. He knew that the king would be where the king would be. He almost never left the gardens. Supposedly, that was where his dead children were buried. Sans didn't care. The king could have his dust buried in the garbage dump for all Sans cared. He stalked his way through the castle, mind set on one goal, one act of violence to finally bring peace. Sans knew this castle He was the judge after all. He activated a shortcut and felt himself being whooshed into the gardens. Yellow flowers speckled the patches of grass. Sans didn't care. King Asgore stood silently with a watering can. He loomed over a patch of flowers, letting the water fall onto their petals. Sans summoned a bone attack in his right hand. The end was sharp and jagged. Hello, my name is Barry. I'm just reading. Also, now we have 2 people named the exact same thing. Like, literally the exact same thing. That's strange. But you know what? Whatever. That's cool. Oh, jeez. It glowed with blue light as that matched Sans' eye. He came up behind King Asgore. Oh, where am I? With terrifying stealth, making no noise as he positioned himself within range. Asgore's envy and grief clung to him like a fog. Sans stared at the king's back with malice. He raised his bone attack and chose one remark before plunging the bone into Asgore's back. I'm not sorry. The words came out short, curt, and drowned in hatred. Not toward the king, not even toward the human. His hatred pointed inward. He was going to regret this one day, but not now. This needed to be done. One act of violence to bring peace. The bone plunged deep into the king's chest, missing his soul. That part was on purpose. Despite popular belief, Sans was stronger than he looked. He may be one-shot kill, but that had a double meaning. The king's breath hitched and he began to dust. His eyes glazed over and blood seeped from the wound. His body was just turned to dust before he even hit the ground. Sans immediately grabbed the soul of the king. He took it and brought it close to his own. The 2 souls merged and warped together, glowing brighter than the sun. A white-hot pain exploded from his soul, as if it was on fire, because it was on fire. Sans felt the fire magic coursing through his bones, burning up whatever little care he had left. The magic was too much for Sans to handle. His skull exploded and a spire of flames burst through the hole. His back burned as 2 sets of butterfly-like wings erupted from his spine. The wings flickered and swirled, growing 3 times bigger than Sans himself was. He could hear his own screams of pain. He couldn't even hear his own screams of pain over the sound of crackling flames. His eye light that once glowed with the colors of justice and blue magic cracked as his eye light changed. The yellow and blue shriveled up as they were replaced by red, orange, and yellow. The fire threatened to melt his bones, but didn't. Sans lost himself. Sans was gone. Sans died the moment he consumed this king's soul. He lost the love and care he had for Papyrus. He lost all the care he had for Grillbees. He lost all the care he'd ever had for Waterfall and its beauty. The person that loved those things were gone. All that was left was the searing hatred of the human. He got to his feet, his vision now infested with flames. So that's where I've gotten so far on Arson's backstory. A little violent. I'm alone. Oh well. I am boring. I guess I could read to you this one. I do like this one. I'm having fun writing it. It currently doesn't have a name, but I could start it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I already have a couple name ideas, but I just haven't implemented them yet. Geez, I really am boring. Because no one is here. Oh well. I'm a girly girl with a girly secret. If I tell you to promise I'll keep it. My little secret. Alright. Chapter 1. So, this doesn't really have a big plot, though I have some points down, so let's begin. Why not? Maybe then people will find me slightly entertaining. Blank. Chapter 1. Ink swung their legs back and forth as they sat next to Dream on the bench. Ink watched their loose brown pants swish as their legs moved. It was late afternoon and under Swap's surface, the sun was shining gently over the park, covering it in an orange glow. There was a bit of wind, warm. Do you know what that fish means? You know that means fish. Oh. What? You know what that means, fish. Huh? I think I'm crazy. I've officially lost it. Oh well. There was a bit of wind, warm and comforting. A few bees buzzed here and there, flying from flower to flower. Ink left under Swap's surface. Stop trying to go off, sir. Though sometimes the human did give Ink weird looks as they passed. Then again, Monster has only been on the surface for a couple of years. And you don't see a 3'8" skeleton with a giant brush every day. Ink continued to kick their legs childishly as they thought they would probably be drawing of something if their right arm wasn't in a sling. The sling was a pale blue color, and the cast inside was a warm cream. Ink was glad it wasn't white. Under their clothes, Ink had more bandages wrapped around their ribcage and spine. They also had bandages wrapped around their upper left calf. The injuries Ink had gotten from the Star Sans' latest encounter with Nightmare's King were more visible than normal. Most of the time, Ink got psychological damage more than physical. At least Mom wasn't forcing Ink to stay in bed all the time like when they had first gotten hurt. Honestly, Ink didn't understand why Mom was so insistent on Ink being the center of her attention. Swap had lost his arm, for crying out loud. Ink let out a frustrated huff and their eyelids turned from a calm cyan diamond, a calm cyan diamond and a curious orange triangle to a frustrated gray-blue skull and an annoyed red-orange bubble. Dream noticed their changing mood and gave them a look. It wasn't pressing like Mom's, but a concerned one. Are you in any pain? Dream asked quietly, resting a hand on Ink's shoulder. Ink was in pain, even though they were on more pain medication than they could remember. Ink did not want to leave yet, so they shook their head. Dream wasn't as injured as his teammates. Dream had returned mostly unscathed, other than a couple knife slashes from Killer. Mom had quickly healed Dream, mostly so he could watch Ink and make sure they didn't go and continue fighting. Dream walked with a slight limp, but he didn't mind it. He'd gone through a lot worse. Ink had tried going back out, but Sai had pricked them with a sedative before they could make it out of the pocket dimension. Ink was actually kind of glad he had done that. You know what? You guys are going into the void so I can see the screen. There we go. Void. Pat. Where the heck was I? Ink had been pretty beaten up during the attack, and they'd have passed out in whatever AU they had teleported to. But but when Sai had begun checking ink for wounds, for injuries under the clothes, he found out ink had well been hiding old wounds. Again. Mel had been livid about that one. It wasn't the first time, and it was definitely not the last. That also meant Sai spent 2 hours removing shattered bone pieces from inside Ink's wounds, which sounded absolutely disgusting in Ink's opinion. The worst had been in their leg. That was another reason Ink wasn't running around or climbing on things they shouldn't. Dream was mostly healed. He was mainly there to make sure Ink didn't do any of those things. Hi! Dream, I'm sorry, I keep wanting to call you Nightmare. Yeah, hi, I'm just reading a fan fiction I'm writing. You can listen if you want. It's very badly put together. It's basically the first draft, to put it bluntly. I'm a girly girl with a girl. It's okay, you can call me Nightmare still. Wonderful. Yeah. If YouTube sends me one more notification, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay. I'm going to continue now. I have no idea where I went. That was another reason Ink wasn't running around or climbing things they shouldn't. Since Dream was mostly healed, he was mainly there to make sure Ink didn't do anything despite their injuries. Both Ink and Dream were in disguises, though Dream had told Blue it was unnecessary. Blue had disagreed and insisted on Dream and Ink were changing. Blue really didn't want them to get recognized and harassed when they were still recovering. So, reluctantly, Dream had accepted the dark cyan hoodie and black jeans. Ink had been given a light gray shirt and long brown pants. The shirt was a bit too long and looked funny with their cast, but Dream had helped them roll up the sleeves so it wouldn't hang over their arms. Jeez, where was I? Dream and Blue were similar size and body shape, with Blue being a bit taller and wider. Frank, on the other hand, clothes were very big. Ink didn't mind. Blue had also taken and covered Ink's splotch on their cheek with the yellow star-shaped sticker. Ink had been so intrigued by the stickers that he had taken and stuck 5 more on different places on their body. Dream had giggled warmly at that, and Blue had let out a signature laugh. Even Stretch had cracked a grin at Ink's antics. Ink felt extremely exposed without their scarf, so Blue had gone and gotten another scarf that matched the color of the star stickers. Blue had carefully tied it around Ink's neck, folding in a way that Ink wouldn't accidentally trip over its tails. Alright, Ink had convinced me that them coming with Ink was a very bad idea, leaving them to sulk in the corner of Blue's guest room. Dream had been given a leather satchel. Satchel? Just learn to read, it's not hard. Dream had been given a leather satchel that hung from his waist. He had taken and placed his distinctive cape and golden circlet inside. He also put Ink's emergency paints inside as well. Ink really hoped they wouldn't have to drink those paints again, especially now that Ink had their artificial soul. The snow had not been exactly planned, but when the vials started to poison Ink, it became a necessity. You don't ask. It is not meant to make sense. These are walking, talking skeletons. No, I will not elaborate. Ink didn't like to think about that time. They were so happy with their new soul. The paints were just in case Ink lost their soul. Because now, losing a soul was easier now that it was just a pin. The soul resembled a golden upside-down heart. It had 2 tubes that reflected the colors of their highlights. Most of the time, Ink kept it inside of his scarf, on the outside of their scarf, but now they hid it in the folds. Blue had also given Ink a pair of sunglasses to cover their eyelids. Sorry, my mom walked in. My brother is here, listening. He heard his name. Is his real name Sunny? That's what I thought, Dream. Well, hello, Dream. Hello. Well, tell him I said hi, because he's a dinkum. I'm sure he is. Don't ask. I will not elaborate. He said hi. Hello. Alright, let me continue. Hey. Ink heard the greeting and shook and looked up from their thoughts. They noticed the 3 figures walking up to the 2-star stanzas. One of them Ink immediately recognized as Blue. He wasn't exactly in a disguise, but he wasn't making it instantly obvious he was Blue. He wore a navy blue t-shirt with a rocket and stars on it, along with a pair of jeans. He hadn't tried to cover up his distinctive blue highlights, and still had his dark blue bandana. Next to him, Ink noticed... Oh shoot, where was I? Noticed the original Kara and Asgore of this world. By now, Dream had also noticed them and was giving them a warm smile. Now that Ink thought about it, Dream always... He's something Blue would wear. Now that Ink thought about it, Dream was always warm. Had this warm, comforting presence. Ever since they had met that panicked, fateful day, when the star stanzas had found a tiny, frazzled skeleton huddled in the snow. A skeleton with no name, no AU, and no soul. A tiny skeleton lost in undertop after previous events. Ink proceeded to push those memories as far down as possible and focused on the Underswap residents. Kara began to enthusiastically wave at them, beaming excitedly. Oh shoot, I did something. My brother's listening and he's cuddling with me. Oh, that's adorable. Oh, jeez, I lost where I was. Asgore chuckled fondly at them and gave Ink and Dream a gentle smile of its own. Ink noticed with a pang of red-blue guilt that Blue was wearing the robotic arms I had given him. He'd been going through physical therapy and science now to get used to it. He was making fast progress, but could only wear it 5 to 6 hours a day. Blue didn't seem too bothered about having his new arm out in the open. Ink got off the bench, holding in their winces and using its handle for support. Dream had put a hand on their shoulder and gave them a look that reminded them way too much of Mom. One that said, "Nuh-uh, you are not going to go and tackle Kara." Ink let out an annoyed huff to let Dream support their weight and shuffle over to the Underswap residence. Lord have mercy. When they finally met at a middle point, Ink wrapped their arms around Kara. Ink had known all of the Underswap residents ever since they'd been found in Undertop. That was the first thing they remembered, or at least that's what they told everyone. They still remembered the empty world that was meant to be their EU. They destroyed their soul, ended up in the duosphere, found their paint, fell through a bucket into Undertop, and was found by the stars, and the rest is history. Ink had apparently destroyed their soul before they could fully grow into an adult, leaving them short and a bit naive. Then again, they weren't alone. Dream had been turned to stone for 500 years before he had a chance to grow up into an adult. Sorry that my moment's gonna end. But at least his brain had matured completely, unlike Ink. Oh well, they had their friends to help with things like that. Ink had distinct memories of Asgore, Kara, and dying Queen Toriel and the Skeleton Brothers babysitting them as they got used to their new surroundings. Inca finally let go of Kara and turned to Asgore to give him a hug of his own. By the way, I need to go soon because I'm going to school tomorrow and to sleep because I have stupid exams. For the past 2 weeks, it has been exams. I'm so sorry, Nightmare. That sucks. I wouldn't know. I'm homeschooled and don't go through exams very often. But that is fine. I will put this live on public so you can go back and figure out where you were. It does. I'm sorry. Asgore's mouth smiled, but his eyes looked pained and worried. Okay, no problem. Pained and worried. Ink really wished he wasn't. They could and had survived much worse. Ink wrapped their arms around Asgore's middle, which wasn't much, but they managed. Asgore lifted them off their feet into a gentle hold, carefully avoiding their injuries. Dream folded Kara into a warm hug of positive energy, lighting up the air around him with a gentle glow. When he let go, Dream gave Blue a polite nod in greeting. Neither Ink or Dream had seen Swap Kara and Asgore in almost 2 months. It was nice to see them both again. It was also nice Ink didn't need to hide the multiverse or the fact they were the protector from them. In fact, Kara had been the first person to know about Ink's role. They and Ink had been playing with checks, and Kara had casually revealed Ink's role. Even Ink hadn't even known about it. Reasonably, the stars, who had been raising Ink at the time, freaked out about this new revelation. Ink had been very confused on why their guardians were so worried about it. That was until Dream sat Ink down and explained how important a protector role was. It took a bit more coding to figure out Ink was the protector, what Ink was the protector of. After a month or two of picking at Ink's codes, the words Protector of Creation popped up next to Ink's role check. After a bit more freaking out from the stars, they proceeded to tell Ink stories about the Protector in different multiverses. It was all so incredibly exciting that one day, Ink would be just like all those other Protectors. It also helped that Undersolve had been opened to the multiverse before Ink had even been found. Heck, it had been open to the multiverse before even Dream had been found. Before Era lost it. Thinking about the story put a dampener on Ink's mood, but he perked up again when Kara handed Ink a Get Well card. It was hand-drawn with construction paper and crayons. Rainbows and splotches covered the mint green card, with the words Get Better Soon Ink scribbled on the front in brown marker. Under the sunglasses, Ink's highlights shimmered with a yellow star. Sorry. I got a message. Alright, we're good. Under the sunglasses, Ink's highlight shimmered with a yellow star and a green diamond. He let out a small gasp and beamed at Kara. Ink stumbled forward and gave them another big hug, which Kara returned. So sorry, I need to go. It was nice listening to the stream. Hope everyone else is watching the stream is enjoying. Bye. Bye, Nightmare. It was wonderful having you. Sorry, I have to be really quiet because my parents are right outside. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to stream, but we'll see. See you, Nightmare. Is Sketch going to be joining us? Dream turned from Inked and Car to Blue as he asked. Yeah, but he was too lazy to get up and walk here. Oh, shoot, I did something. Blue scowled as he spoke, but everyone knew that it was a fond way. They also knew Stretch was most definitely not lazy. He worked multiple jobs, even though now that underswap was on the surface and gold was worth a ton. Dream braided his arms underneath Ink, supporting their weight. Ink was about to protest, saying that they could walk, which was a damn lie, but Ink gave them a look that Mom used to keep everyone in check. Ink awkwardly clamped their mouths shut, knowing that if they resisted, Mom would mysteriously appear in Underswap overnight to watch them. Ink huffed and leaned against Dream. Swap eyed them for a second before speaking. Dream, you want me to take him? He asked, looking from Ink to Dream. Dream seemed to think for a moment before he nodded and transferred Ink into Blue's hold. Ink. Hello, Grace plays Roblox. Yeah, I'm just reading. I'm sorry, I have to be really quiet because my parents are outside. Ink bit back another protest they could walk. They knew exactly why Dream had given Ink to Blue. He was trying to set a good example. Ink rolled their eyelids, though no one noticed because of the glasses. Muppets wasn't too far, only a block from the park. The group walked along the sidewalk, buildings on the right, road on the left. Ink, who was busy watching the cars on the road past, didn't notice how slow the group was going so he could keep up. Esker and Car were in the front leading the way. Dream was in the middle, hands folded in front of him as he watched the cars as well, while Ink and Blue held up the back. Ink noticed a couple of humans watching the group of monsters with a weird look. Maybe they were just curious. After about 10 minutes of walking, which seemed like a while for just a block, they made it to Muppets. The building was a bit bigger than in the underground, but there wasn't a major difference. Stretch leaned against the building, a cigarette clamped between his teeth. Blue glared at Stretch as they walked up to him. Stretch gave the group a lazy smile as he took the cigarette out of his mouth. Blue was visibly resisting the urge to take the cigarette and throw it away. His eye socket twitched in annoyance as Blue helped Ink along. Hey guys, ready to head in? Hello, Steve-O. I'm reading again. You're gonna see a lot of that from me. I probably won't stream for too much longer because it's pretty sure I'm almost done with this. But who knows? I might not be. I don't know. You guys ready to head in? Stretch greeted nonchalantly, gesturing at them with his free hand. Blue took a deep, dramatic breath and nodded. Stretch shoved his hand, including the one with the lit cigarette, into his pockets of his orange hoodie. You two wanna make code names? Stretch asked, lowering his voice to look at Dream, and looked at Dream and Ink. Ink had only had a couple of code names before, especially when they were younger. For instance, the name Blot was a signal of danger, and that Ink needed to return to the cabin. Kiki was just a nickname that Ink eventually outgrew, even though Mom still called them that every now and again. Ink thought for a moment before looking down at his sling that held their arms. It had more of those star stickers all over it, the light blue fabric. Star, Ink exclaimed excitedly, pointing at the sticker. That way I'll remember. They continued, beaming. Blue's highlights turned into blue stars. Blue. Wow, I'm so freaking good at writing. I'm not. I am awful at writing. You know, whatever. I need to shut my mouth and just continue. Perfect, Blue grinned. Dream chuckled at his teammates fondly. I think Lucid would work. Dream said thoughtfully. Blue nodded. Guards seemed puzzled and asked what a lucid was. Dream warmly explained that lucid dreaming is where you are in a dream and can control it. Carl let out a long "oh" before they nodded at the new information. Once they quickly covered both their own and Dream's tracks with false ones, the group piled into the cafe. Muffet stood by the door with a sharp, friendly grin. Her arms were folded politely behind her back as she greeted the new arrivals. Alright, that was the end for now. I think I'm gonna end now, but thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, dearests.